Hello, I'm Johan Nieto, one of the creators of The Missing Piece, a short film created for my media studies class, media product. And today I'll be answering the question of how does your product user challenge conventions and how does it represent social groups or issues? Use of conventions. This could also be involved with use of social groups, especially when it comes to gender inequality. There are male saviors and a damsel in distress in this film. Examples of them. In the beginning of the film, this lady, Adriana, is murdered, and these are her friends. Her missing posters put up, and they find it, and they go looking for her. This is also typical in horror for a woman to die first. It also plays on social groups because women are unfortunately considered less. I wouldn't say important, but they're definitely not equal to men in today's current society, unfortunately and unfairly. Um, and that's how they're treated in a lot of horror movies or any movie. Usually the ones that need to be saved, which is kind of signifying their weakness or their inability to help themselves. And on the other hand, the men in this situation, they're the ones that are going to go save the woman, or quotations because she's already dead, but they're going to go out to maybe see what happens to the woman, go look for her, which is typical in a lot of movies, even in horror, but generally in a lot of movies for the men to go and save the woman. Um, this is just a typical thing because they think the men are, can handle themselves better, handle or better, stronger, strong-willed, which is also unfair and unfortunate and not realistic, but is a very common convention, and it represents the social groups of these two real because this is also something a lot of people agree with in real life. The equality between these two groups here. By using my film almost unknowingly because it's such a common convention and it's so rooted in movies everywhere, even in horror, in action movies, in basically any type of genre. This is a very prominent trope that is used. More conventions that were used in this film, specifically borrowed from the horror genre, because this is a horror media product, was the use of a dark atmosphere or environment. In a lot of horror movies, they use a very, very, very dark atmosphere and environment to give off creepy, fear, scary, everything that they want to give off in a horror movie to affect the audience. You can kind of see it here. Not very much because this is a more lighted scene, but it was a very dark, dark place we filmed in. There were street lights lighting the road, but it was very late at night. No one around, really giving off like a creepy vibe. And that's what you want to go for when creating a horror movie because that's an aspect that is used very, very often in horror. As you can see, basically no one around. Only thing lighting is a street light. And there's only a woman running through that road in the film. The woman that was killed was running through a road all alone, darkness, hiding behind bushes, just out there by herself alone, giving off the very dark atmosphere, dark environment. A lot of the mise en scene, the blood that was used in the film, kind of like you can see here in the bottom image. We used blood when the woman was murdered, and that's a very common thing in horror movies for there to be blood splatter, just to really emphasize the kind of goriness and just make it a whole lot more uncomfortable and unsettling for the audience to watch. Another convention we used is the unknown killer convention, used a lot prominently in the movie Scream, but also used in movies such as Friday the 13th, two very popular horror franchises. Unknown killer basically adds a lot of the ominous vibes that you want to get with a horror movie, especially ones like these where it's kind of an unknown, kind of a mystery game a little bit. So you don't know who the killer is. It's a mass killer. We didn't have a mass killer. We instead didn't show the killer's face at all. In fact, this is the only frame you get of the said killer, and it's only showing his hand, only showing the murder weapon. You don't get any hint at all as to who this can be. Very often used convention in horror. And it's actually very common for the killer to not be for it to not be said who the killer is until the end of the movie, which if this were a full-length movie would probably be the case, but for now this is just the intro, so we don't give who the killer is at all. More conventions that we use in this movie, short film, short media product, where creepy and fast-paced music, very thrilling, makes your heart beat as things are happening. As a woman's running down the road, the music's building. As the man's getting closer, it's building. The whole time, music's building up because you really want to give that, oh, something's about to happen. As the beat builds up, something's about to happen, and when it really hits that high note, that's when, the main action occurs. Maybe when the music cuts out, when the main action occurs. Excuse me. But, yeah, very creepy, fast-paced, thrilling music. Very often used in horror movies to enhance the atmosphere. We also use cryptic speech and messages twice in our short film. There's just kind of inaudible whispers that you can't really understand. You can hear them, but you can't understand. Before the man in the second act of our short film picks up the bracelet from the floor, he goes, and the same bracelet in this picture right here. It's first shown with whispers, very cryptic. You don't know what it is. And then once it's shown again, second act, the boy, he goes to pick up the bracelet, goes to put it on. Before he does, the voice is talking to him. Claim your throne. You can't really understand what he's saying. It's very, very distorted, very bass boosted audio, very unsettling, almost creepy, like something that isn't of this world. And that's something that's used a lot. Cryptic messages such as the one down here. We didn't specifically use anything written in text, but it's just an example of the type of messages that a horror movie may give. Just unsettling, trying to unsettle you, trying to, more promote to the mystery, because you don't know what's going on. You don't know what this voice is, what's necessarily asking to be done, what it wants to be done. And that's a very common convention in horror that we used in our short form. Thank you. That was really all. Thank you for listening.